Hi. So my question was, I have a revocable living trust. I have 2 children, 2 homes, one in Florida, one in New England, and they're both beneficiaries of the 2 homes. Why would I need a ladybird deed, and what is the difference, if there is any?
So, Diane, a trust and a ladybird deed are both for the same purpose, and that purpose is to avoid probate. People want to avoid probate because it's expensive and takes a long time. When you signed a trust, your trust, it is as though you built an empty vault or an empty safe. In order to avoid probate on your 2 properties, it requires 2 things. Number 1, you've got a trust. Number 2, your trust owns your 2 properties. So if I were to look at the deeds to your 2 properties and they're not owned by your trust, they are still in Diane's name, then you've wasted your time and money. So do you need a ladybird deed? Maybe. But step number 1 is figure out these 2 properties. Does your trust own them, or are they still in Diane's individual name?
Okay. That makes sense. I did not know that.
Yeah, so Diane,
if the deed itself is not in the trust, then it's a moot point having it there.
If it's not in the trust, then your properties are still going through probate. You have not accomplished your goal. Now, Diane, a lot of people who have living trusts are under a false sense of security. Hey, I spent all this money on a living trust. I must be avoiding probate. Not necessarily, Holly. Let me tell Diane what our experience is with that.
Over and over again, we have reviewed many trusts where my first question when I am sitting with a client who has a living revocable trust is your trust funded? In other words, is your trust the owner of your real estate, the owner of your bank accounts or investment accounts, or at a minimum, the beneficiary of those accounts? And a lot of times the answer is, well, no, I don't think so. Everything's in my name. Well, you have paper. That's what you have at that point. So the goal is to connect your trust to your assets and ensure that they're owned by the trust in order to avoid probate. And so with a ladybird deed, again, as Tom said, that's a second option to use to avoid probate on your real estate. But it would be looking at your deed for your 2 properties to ensure that they're actually owned by your trust or not. That would be first step.
Now, Diane, if you call the Olsen Law Group, we can go online and we can quickly figure out if your Florida property is owned by your trust. So we invite you to call the Olsen Law Group next week. And
I could do. I'm just kind of surprised because I had a certified elder law attorney do this.
Diane, I'm happy about that, but my experience is telling me you may be under a false sense of security. Diane, you can call that attorney. You can call us. We can quickly figure out what's going on with your Florida property. As far as your Northeast property, you're going to need to check with an attorney up there.